heard from Fed presidents that they were going to likely raise rates further. We saw the PPI numbers are still very hot. And so they're going to keep interest rates high for a long period, at least the entire year. It's very hard for me to imagine that Bitcoin and the stock market can withstand that, and more importantly, the economy can withstand that. So at some point we slip into a recession. If that's the case, the S&P probably has another 25% down at least. And if the S&P drops 25%, the question you have to ask is, how does Bitcoin fare during that period, right? So for me, I got to imagine that Bitcoin would at least drop. I mean, just to get back to the lows, we drop about 8,000 to 9,000, right in that vicinity. And then the question is, do we go even lower with the S&P collapsing?
Pro trader Gareth Soloway is renowned for his macroeconomic analysis, technical chart analysis, and trade signal alerts. As we can see, the S&P 500 sank 1.4%, while the Dow Jones Industrial Average declined by 1.3%. Before going further in this video, make sure to hit the subscribe button for more recent updates about digital market. The technology-heavy Nasdaq Composite plunged by 1.8%. Bitcoin rallied, hitting a new 6-month high as regulatory crackdowns drove continued uneasiness in the crypto space. The token briefly topped $25,000 for the first time since August, but Gareth Soloway still considered Bitcoin can drop as low as $8,000. The yield on the benchmark 10-year U.S. Bitcoin price shows a clean bounce off a stable support level that paused its retracement and restarted its 2023 bull rally. Treasury note rose to 3.867% Thursday midday. The dollar index inched higher by nearly 0.09% to trade at $104.02. Investors digested fresh economic data on Thursday, the headline of which was January's Producer Price Index. Headline PPI came in at a monthly increase of 0.7%, hotter than the 0.4% expected by economists. Stocks had capped off the previous session higher after economic data continued to suggest the economy remains resilient in the face of higher rates and sticky inflation.
Yeah, so in the short term, yesterday was a very, very important day from a technical standpoint. And what we saw yesterday was a follow-through from the previous big up day. And then what we saw was we touched the 25,000 level, actually piercing it. And then the negative was the reversal, right? So I think any technician looks at that and says, okay, that's a topping tail, that's a reversal day. Be careful if you're a Bitcoin bull when you see that type of price action, because essentially a massive amount of euphoria, FOMO with retail investors in Bitcoin buying in. And then we saw somehow a reversal of epic proportion, which again wasn't the small investor selling all of a sudden, right? I mean, the small investor's not saying, oh, 25 is the top here. It's usually the bigger money. And so when you see bigger money unloading, you have to pay attention to that. And so at this point, that's a top, right? Now, again, can tops be violated? Can they be broken? Absolutely. But I'm never one to jump the gun. I want it to prove itself before I go on that side. So right now, you have a top at around 25,300 on Bitcoin. And unless that gets taken out with a daily close, you have to respect that as a short-term top. Near term, I do expect Bitcoin to come back in, and even over the midterm, I still think there's trouble brewing in the crypto market. Person that thinks the lows are in yet, I know that may sound crazy to a lot of investors in Bitcoin after this big run. Draw my attention. If I zoom out on this chart, this is a great bounce, nothing to take away from it. But in the scheme of the move and in the scheme of the bear market, we have to keep in mind that by no means are we back above major technical levels. Like 25,000 is a technical level. It's a mid-level one. But to be honest, I'll show you to where the big one is. The big one is at 30,000 right here. And the reason why psychologically this is a big level is because this was your mid-period of the 2021 bull market, right? This was the low pivot right here. So basically, I'm saying to myself is that if for me to be convinced that the lows are in on Bitcoin, we need to trade above, not just for a day, but I want to see it hold above for a little while above 30,000. And then I would say, okay, the lows are in. But until that, I think this could be a bear market rug pull rally, and I would be very careful.
Therefore, the 2023 bull rally, which has yielded a 43% upswing, could continue pushing Bitcoin price higher. In a case where Bitcoin overcomes the resistance confluence at roughly $25,200, the next stop would be $43,000, as indicated by the MRI. Unlike the weekly chart, which forecast a bullish target of $43,000, the MRI indicator on the 3-day chart predicts a much more palpable target of $30,700. Hence, the possibility of a local top formation at $30,000 is high. GIO model shows that the immediate resistance cluster of underwater investors is thin. The next cluster, as seen in the chart below, is around $40,000, where roughly 4.7 million addresses that bought nearly 2.1 million Bitcoin are also underwater.
One of the things that I'll point out too, which has me nervous about Bitcoin for 2024, is everyone is saying that it's going to start rallying into the halving, right? And that makes me very nervous that everyone is anticipating that, especially when you have totally different scenarios where you don't have the Fed printing money, you don't have interest rates near zero like they've been for the last so long, right? So there's like these things like you're mentioning about that. When everyone's saying something, that gets me a little bit nervous. So the first thing I would do is I would go to the charts and I say, okay, if we take the high from 2017 and we draw a line through here, we connect these last two high pivots. That would be, I mean, so to me, that's a trend line that I would pay attention to. And if we did get up there, that would probably be a shortable trading opportunity. Now, the question is how, again, it's hard to see where that is. Right now, if we went straight up to that level, it's only around 75,000. And that would be the case if we went, a year out, it probably isn't above 100 yet. So if we go up, if we enter a new bull market, I think you're on the right track there where I don't know what that number would coincide with that formula, but it would be interesting to see, and you might be able to run this, is does this trend line, let's say we hit that bull market in a year, does it coincide with that trend line sloping up on the charts? But I think that's fascinating, and I can see that. I mean, as Bitcoin gets bigger, right, it's gonna be harder for it to go up as much, right? So the law of large numbers, you're not going to see Apple go up 10% a day anymore. Whereas a billion-dollar company, it could do that no problem. You don't see that anymore when it's a $3 trillion or $2 trillion company. So I think that has to be taken into account, and that you will start to see smaller bull cycles. But again, they will be bull cycles, no doubt about it.
If 2022 was the year of breaking rules and failing, I believe 2023 is the year that entities instead follow the rules and enjoy the rewards of doing so. The former bond trader noted that this bear market was the only one to more than completely wipe out the previous bull market. In this case, giving back 136% of the previous rally. The drawdown of the bear market was 77%, above the median of 73%, he said. The flagship cryptocurrency Bitcoin is now entering its seventh bull cycle. According to the head of $4.1 billion cryptocurrency hedge fund Pantera Capital, Dan Moorhead, who predicts this year will be one where trust in the space is rebuilt. Meanwhile, traders are speculating whether the recent rally is a bull trap and should avoid or jump in to buy Bitcoin in the current level. The MVRV ratio metric is the ratio of a coin's market cap to its realized cap. It indicates whether Bitcoin's price is overvalued or undervalued. Historically, values below 1 indicate Bitcoin price bottom. The MVRV ratio for Bitcoin started to rise above 1 in mid-Jan, which indicates Bitcoin price has already bottomed and entered a bull market cycle. The ratio is currently at 1.22, still low for investors to take the opportunity.
Yeah, so as of now, I do think we do take out the lows of, I think it was around 15,700, and we probably head down to 12 to 13. I still am in the camp that we have to have max pain in the crypto market, so you're probably talking about a Pierce of 10 to achieve that. That would be where most retail would probably really panic and consider dumping their bags, if you will. So I'm still in that camp. I think the driving force isn't going to be another FTX. Like, I'm not really envisioning that there's going to be a ton more of these major fraud scenarios. The way we get to that lower target is probably with a macro recession.
Meanwhile, the median drawdown for Bitcoin has been 73%, while during the most recent bear market, the crypto lost 77% of its value from the all-time high, according to Moorhead. Bitcoin, which has a limited supply of 21 million, is a hedge against expansionary monetary policy, which often leads to an increased inflation levels, Har said. The recent bear market has also been the only one that wiped out all the gain from the previous bull market and resulted in even greater losses, noted Moorhead. To be sure, crypto traders are watching for more potential fallouts from the collapses of Genesis and FTX, while uncertainty remains in the macroeconomic environment with a still high inflation and risks of a U.S. recession. What are your thoughts on Gareth Soloway's prediction about Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies in 2023? Do you expect these assets to perform beyond investors' expectation? Let us know in the comment section below. If you like our content, give this video a big thumbs up and do subscribe to our channel.